Scene opens with the sound of a rhythmic squeaking, rubber shoes on a polished marble floor. They say the most dangerous person in the room is the one you don't notice. The one who knows where the keys are kept, who knows the schedules, who hears the whispers when the powerful think they are alone. At Sterling Medical Center, that person was Samuel Washington. To the doctors and the donors, he was just the janitor. A fixture. Part of the furniture. But Samuel was holding on to a secret that was about to walk through the front doors and shatter the billionaire owner's ego into a million pieces. You're going to want to hear how this ends. It's a reminder that humility is a mask for greatness. If you love stories where the underdog doesn't just win, but dominates, please hit that like button right now. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that feeds your soul. Let's get into it. The marble floors of the Sterling Medical Center were imported from Italy. Samuel knew this because he was the one who buffed them every night until they looked like mirrors. For 20 years, Samuel had worked the graveyard shift and the early mornings. He knew the smell of antiseptic better than the smell of his own cologne. He knew which doctors were cheating on their spouses, which surgeons had shaky hands, and which administrators were skimming off the top. He was 62 years old, with graying hair and a back that ached when it rained. He wore a gray uniform with the name Sam stitched in blue thread over the pocket. Most people looked right through him. It was a Tuesday morning when Preston Sterling, the billionaire philanthropist and owner of the medical group, swept through the lobby. Sterling was a man who walked as if the gravity of the earth adjusted to suit his stride. He was followed by a flock of assistants and the dean of the medical school, Eleanor Vance. Sterling stopped abruptly, his Italian leather shoes squeaking near Samuel's wet floor sign. He frowned at a microscopic smudge on the glass of the donor wall. This, Sterling pointed with a manicured finger. It's unacceptable. We have the governor coming for the gala on Saturday. I want this place spotless. Samuel stepped forward, dipping his head slightly. I'll take care of it right away, Mr. Sterling. Sterling turned, looking at Samuel not with malice, but with a sort of detached pity. It was the look one gives to a stray dog. Samuel, isn't it? How long have you been with us? 20 years, sir, Samuel said, his voice deep and steady. 20 years, Sterling repeated, shaking his head. He turned to Dean Vance. See? This is loyalty. But it's also a tragedy. A man spends his whole life pushing a mop. It's a waste of human potential. Sterling, struck by a sudden idea that he thought was brilliant, turned back to Samuel. Samuel, do you have family? Yes, sir. A daughter. Maya. Maya, Sterling tasted the name. And what does Maya do? Is she working? Did she finish high school? Samuel tightened his grip on the mop handle. She's very hardworking, sir. She's in the medical field. Sterling chuckled, a dry, patronizing sound. The medical field? You mean she's an orderly? An aide? Or maybe she works in the cafeteria? Samuel hesitated. She works with patients, sir. Right. Look, Samuel, I'm feeling generous. I'm launching a new initiative at the gala this Saturday. The Sterling Bootstrap Program. It's for underprivileged youth. Minorities from challenging backgrounds. I want to invite you and Maya. I want to use her as a face for the campaign. We can offer her a full scholarship to nursing school or maybe a technician certification. Get her off the streets and into a career. What do you say? Sterling smiled, waiting for the gratitude. He expected tears. He expected Samuel to fall to his knees. Samuel looked at the billionaire. He thought about the long nights. He thought about the beans and rice dinners so he could save every penny. He thought about the textbooks he had taped back together. That is a very interesting offer, Mr. Sterling, Samuel said slowly. We will be there. Good man. Sterling clapped him on the shoulder, then wiped his hand on a handkerchief. Make sure she dresses presentable. Dean Vance will get you the details. As Sterling walked away, talking loudly about saving the community, Samuel went back to the smudge on the glass. He smiled. A small, secret smile. Later that evening, Samuel sat in his modest apartment in the city. The door opened, and Maya walked in. She looked exhausted. She was 32, with sharp, intelligent eyes and hair pulled back in a practical bun. She dropped a heavy bag on the floor and collapsed onto the sofa. Long day? Samuel asked, handing her a cup of tea. 36 hours, Pop, Maya groaned. We had a multi-car pileup. 3 surgeries back to back. Then I had to fight with insurance to get a bypass approved for Mrs. Higgins. Samuel sat across from her. You're doing God's work, baby girl. Maya smiled at him. I'm doing the work you paid for, Pop. It was true. Samuel hadn't just been a janitor. He had been a strategist. Every bit of overtime, every holiday bonus, every scrap dollar had gone into a fund. But more than money, he had given her curiosity. When she was a child, he would bring home discarded medical journals from the recycling bins. He would make her read them. When she was 10, she could explain the circulatory system. When she was 18, she got a full ride to undergrad. But medical school, that was expensive. Samuel had refinanced his life for her. Mr. Sterling spoke to me today, Samuel said, sipping his coffee. Maya stiffened. Sterling? The guy who owns the conglomerate? Did he give you trouble? No. He invited us to the gala on Saturday. He wants to give you a scholarship. Maya laughed. It was a loud, hearty laugh. A scholarship? Pop, I finished paying off my loans last year. Does he know? He thinks you're an orderly. Or maybe unemployed. He wants to save you. He wants to put you on stage as his charity case for the bootstrap program. Maya's smile faded. Her eyes narrowed. He assumed, didn't he? Because you're the janitor. Because we're black. He assumed I need saving. He did, Samuel confirmed. I didn't correct him. Maya looked at her father. She saw the gray in his beard and the calluses on his hands. She knew how many times he had been disrespected in those hallways. You want me to go, she stated. I want him to see you, Samuel said softly. I want him to see what a janitor's daughter looks like. Maya stood up. The exhaustion vanished, replaced by a cold, surgical precision. Okay, Pop. Let's go to the gala. I'll check my schedule. I think I can make time. Saturday night arrived. The Sterling Gala was the event of the season. The ballroom was decked out in gold and velvet. A string quartet played softly in the corner. The room was filled with the city's elite, politicians, board members, wealthy donors, and senior doctors. Samuel wore a rented tuxedo. He looked distinguished, standing tall. Beside him, Maya was radiant. She wore a sleek, emerald green evening gown that was elegant but modest. She wore no jewelry except for a simple gold chain. As they entered, heads turned. Not because they recognized them, but because they didn't. Who are they? Whispered a woman in diamonds. New donors? That's the janitor, her husband whispered back, scandalized. Sterling invited him. It's a publicity thing. Sterling spotted them and rushed over, a photographer trailing him. Samuel. You cleaned up well. Sterling boomed, his voice carrying over the music. He turned to Maya. And this must be Maya. My dear, you look lovely. A bit, much for a student, but lovely. Maya extended her hand. Her grip was firm. Mr. Sterling. Thank you for the invitation. Please, please. Come this way. Sterling ushered them toward the front, near the stage. I'm going to call you up in a bit. Just nod and smile. I'll do the talking. We're going to get you into that nursing assistant program, don't you worry. Maya merely nodded. I look forward to hearing your vision, Mr. Sterling. They sat. The dinner was served. Maya watched the room with a clinical eye. She recognized several people. There was Dr. Aris, the head of cardiology. There was Dr. Evans from neurology. They were deep in conversation, ignoring the charity table, where Samuel and Maya sat. Finally, the lights dimmed. Sterling took the stage. A spotlight hit him. Ladies and gentlemen, Sterling began, his voice rich with self-importance. We are here to celebrate excellence. But we must also look to those who have not had our advantages. We must reach down and pull them up. He gestured dramatically to Samuel's table. Tonight, I have a special guest. Samuel Washington. He has cleaned our floors for 20 years. A simple man. A good man. And his daughter, Maya. The spotlight swung to them. Maya didn't flinch. She stared right into the light. Maya represents the potential we ignore, Sterling continued. She comes from a world of limited options. No access to higher education. No role models in careers. But tonight, the Sterling Foundation is going to change that. I am offering Maya a full scholarship to the Sterling Tech Institute to become a certified nursing assistant. Applause broke out. Polite, wealthy applause. Sterling beckoned them to the stage. Samuel squeezed Maya's hand. Go get him, doctor. Maya stood up and walked to the stage. She moved with a grace that silenced the room. She took the microphone Sterling offered her. Thank you, Mr. Sterling, Maya said. Her voice was calm, authoritative. It was the voice she used to tell a family their loved one would survive. It is a generous offer. The role of a nursing assistant is vital. The hospital crumbles without them. Sterling nodded, beaming. Exactly. And we want to help you take that first step. However, Maya continued, turning to face him. I think there has been a misunderstanding regarding my current status. Sterling frowned. Misunderstanding? My dear, don't be proud. We know the tuition is high. Mr. Sterling, Maya interrupted, her voice sharpening. I don't need tuition assistance for a CNA program. I don't need it because I am not an aspiring student. The room went quiet. I am Dr. Maya Washington, she announced. I graduated top of my class from Johns Hopkins. I completed my residency at Mass General. And for the last 6 months, I have been the attending trauma surgeon at your hospital. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Sterling's face went pale. He looked at Dean Vance, who was frantically checking her phone. That's impossible, Sterling stammered. I would know. You wouldn't, Maya said, stepping closer to him. Because you don't look at the names on the charts. You look at the bottom line. You don't look at the faces of your staff unless they are at a gala. You saw a janitor's daughter and you saw a project. You didn't see up here. She turned to the audience. My father, she pointed to Samuel, who was standing now, tears in his eyes. He didn't just clean your floors. He taught me discipline. He taught me that no job is beneath you, but no person is above you. He paid for my cats with overtime shifts. He paid for my textbooks by skipping meals. He is the reason I save lives in your building. Sterling was speechless. The microphone hung limp in his hand. Suddenly, a commotion broke out at table 4. A heavy-set man, Dr. Aris, the cardiologist, clutched his chest and collapsed onto the floor, knocking over a tray of champagne. He's not breathing, someone screamed. Call 911. Panic erupted. Sterling froze. He looked at the collapsed donor, then at the crowd. He didn't know what to do. Maya dropped the microphone. In a split second, the evening gown didn't matter. She leaped off the stage, kicking off her heels as she landed. She sprinted to table 4. Make room. Back up, she commanded. Her voice cracked like a whip. The wealthy donors scrambled back. Maya knelt beside Dr. Aris. She checked his pulse. No pulse. Agonal breathing. We're in cardiac arrest. She looked up and locked eyes with a young waiter. You. Get the AED from the hallway. Now. Run. She ripped open Dr. Aris's expensive shirt, buttons flying. She began chest compressions. Perfect form. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, Robert, she grunted, using the doctor's first name. Not on my watch. Sterling stood on the stage, useless. He watched the uneducated girl from the hood take command of the entire room. The waiter returned with the AED. Maya slapped the pads on. Clear. The machine shocked the body. No rhythm. Resume compressions, she ordered herself. She looked at a stunned Dr. Evans nearby. Evans. Get down here and manage the airway. I need you to bag him. Dr. Evans, a senior neurologist, instantly obeyed. He dropped to his knees and took over the breathing. Again. Clear. The second shock hit. A moment of silence. Then, a gasp. A cough. Dr. Aris's eyes fluttered open. Maya sat back on her heels, sweat glistening on her forehead. She checked the pulse again. Sinus rhythm. He's back. Let's get him stabilized for transport. The paramedics burst through the doors a moment later, but the hard work was done. They loaded Dr. Aris onto the stretcher. As they wheeled him out, one of the paramedics recognized Maya. Dr. Washington? You're at the gala? Off-duty, Miller, she said, wiping her hands on a napkin. Take care of him. Yes, doctor. The room was silent. Dead silent. All eyes were on Maya, who was barefoot, her dress rumpled, standing in the center of the chaos. She looked up at the stage. Preston Sterling looked small. He looked like a man who had just realized the universe was much larger than his bank account. Maya walked over to her father. Samuel took off his tuxedo jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. Let's go home, Pop, she said. I have rounds in the morning. As they walked toward the exit, the applause started. It wasn't the polite golf clap from earlier. It was thunderous. A standing ovation. People were cheering for the janitor and the surgeon. Sterling remained on stage, alone in the spotlight, but totally in the dark. The next Monday, things were different at Sterling Medical Center. When Samuel arrived for his shift, the wet floor sign wasn't the only thing greeting him. Doctors nodded. Nurses waved. Dean Vance personally came down to apologize, though Samuel just smiled and told her to have a blessed day. As for Preston Sterling, he tried to save face. He issued a press release praising Dr. Washington's heroism. But the damage to his ego was permanent. He learned a lesson that money couldn't buy. Maya continued to be a rising star in trauma surgery. But she made one change. Every morning, before her rounds, she would go to the maintenance closet. She would bring 2 coffees. One for herself and one for her father. They would sit on the overturned buckets for 10 minutes, the surgeon and the janitor, the 2 most important people in the hospital. Maya realized that the title a doctor gave her authority, but the title a daughter gave her strength. And Samuel? He kept buffing those floors. Not because he had to anymore, Maya offered to retire him immediately, but because he wanted to. He wanted to be in the building where his daughter saved lives. He wanted to walk the halls and know that the brilliance operating in or 3 came from his sacrifice. This story is a harsh reminder to everyone who judges a book by its cover. You never know who you are talking to. The person serving your coffee might be a poet. The person cleaning your office might be a genius. The person you ignore might be the one who saves your life. Prejudice blinds us to the talent right in front of our faces. Sterling looked at skin color and job title and saw a deficit. Maya showed him that true wealth isn't in the bank, it's in the mind and the heart. If this story touched you, if you believe that respect should be given to everyone regardless of their uniform, please hit that like button. It helps us spread this message. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever had a Dr. Maya a moment where you proved everyone wrong? I want to hear your story. Don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw, and powerful stories. Until next time, stay humble and keep grinding.